Okay, I've been going back and looking up keywords in that the first description of SARS or COVID 29, and then this is what it's talking about. So, a molecule. So we're talking about now. A keyword is the ACE2. All right. It says a molecular model of the spike protein red of SARS-CoV-2 binding to the angiotensin converting enzyme 2 ACE2 protein. The receptor blue, which is its entry route to the target cell. It says, what is the ACE2 receptor? How is it connected to coronavirus, and why might it be key to treating COVID-19? The expert explained. In the research for treatments for COVID-19, many researchers are focusing their attention on a specific protein that allows the virus to infect human cells, called the angiotensin angiotensin converting enzyme 2 or ACE2 receptor. The protein provides the entry point for the coronavirus to hook into and infect a wide range of human cells. Might this be central in how to treat this disease? It says, we are scientists with expertise in pharmacology, molecular biology, and biochemistry, with a strong commitment to applying these skills to the discovery of novel therapies for human disease. In particular, all three authors have experience studying angiotensin signaling in various disease settings, a biochemical pathway that appears to be central in COVID-19. Here are some of the key issues to understand about why there's so much focusing on this protein. What is the ACE2 receptor? It says viral entry replication and ACE2 normal function blocked. Okay. ACE2 acts as a receptor for the SARS-CoV-2 virus and allows it to infect the cells. The conversion. ACE2 is a protein on the surface of many cell types. It is an enzyme that generates small proteins by cutting up the larger protein and angiotensinogen that then goes on to regulate functions in the cells. Using the spike-like protein on its surface, the SARS-CoV-2 virus binds to ACE2 like a key being inserted into a lock. Prior to entry and infection of cells, hence an ACE2 acts as a cellular doorway, a receptor for the virus. that causes COVID-19. ACE2. Are you kidding me? ACE in your pocket? Come on now. Where in the body is it found? ACE2 is present in many cell types and tissues, including the lungs, heart, blood vessels, kidneys, liver, and gastrointestinal tract. It is present in epithelial cells, which line certain tissues and create protective barriers. The exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the lungs and the blood vessels occurs across this epithelial lining in the lungs. The ACE2 is present in epithelium in the nose, mouth, and lungs. In the lungs, ACE2 is highly abundant on type 2 pneumocytes and important cell types present in chambers within the lungs called the alveoli, where oxygen is absorbed and waste carbon dioxide is released. What is a normal role of ACE2 play? What is the normal role ACE2 plays in the body? Let's see. Angiotensin 1. Angiotensin 2. Angiotensin 2 type 1 receptor the ACE enzyme converts angiotensins into angiotensin 2. And the main role of ACE2 is to break down angiotensin 2 into molecules that counteract angiotensin 2's harmful effects. But if the virus occupies the ACE2 receptors on the surface of cells, then its role is blunted red lines. Drugs called ACE inhibitors inhibit the formation of antigen and angiotensins 2, which would otherwise interact with the angiotensin 1 type 1 receptor to produce tissue damage and inflammation. Drugs called ARBs block angiotensins 2 from interaction with its receptors. Let me get my fingernail out of the way. ACE2 is a vital element in biochemical pathways that is critical to regulating processes such as blood pressure, wound healing, and inflammation, called the renin-angiotensin aldosterone system, RAAS pathways. The ACE2 helps modulate the many activities of a protein called angiotensins 2 that increase blood pressure and inflammation, increasing damage to blood vessels, linings, and various types of tissue injury. ACE2 converts Ang2 to other molecules that counteracts the effect of Ang2. Of greatest relevance to COVID-19, Ang2 can increase inflammation and the death of cells in the alveoli, which are critical for bringing oxygen into the body, and these harmful effects of Ang2 are reduced by ACE2. When the SARS-CoV-2 virus binds to ACE2, it prevents ACE2 from performing its normal function to regulate Ang2 signaling, and thus ACE2 action is inhibited. removing the brakes from Ang2 signaling and makes more Ang2 available to injure tissue, and this increased braking likely contributes to injury, especially to the lungs and heart in COVID patients. What? Producing what? Inflammation, water in the lungs. Let's see, what else? Mucus. It says, does everyone have the same number of ACE2 on their cells? No. ACE2 is present in all people, but the quantity can vary among individuals and in different tissues and cells. Some evidence suggests that ACE2 may be higher in patients with hypertension, diabetes, and coronary heart disease. Studies have found that a lack of ACE2 in mice is associated with severe tissue injury in the heart, lungs, and other tissue types. Does the quantity of receptors determine whether someone gets more or less sick? This is unclear. The SARS-CoV-2 virus requires ACE2 to infect cells, but the precise relationship between ACE2 levels, viral infectivity, and severity of infection are not well understood. Even so, aside from its ability to bind the SARS-CoV-2 virus, ACE2 has protective effects against tissue injury by mitigating the pathological effects of Ang2. When the amount of ACE2 is reduced because the virus is occupying the receptors, individuals may be more susceptible to severe illness from COVID-19. That is because enough of ACE2 is available to facilitate viral entry, but the decrease in the available ACE2 contributes to more Ang2 mediated injury. In particular, reducing ACE2 will increase susceptibility to inflammation, cell death, and organ failure, especially in the heart and in the lungs. Which organs are most severely damaged by SARS-CoV-2 or CoV-2? The lungs are the primary site of injury by SARS-CoV-2 infection, which causes COVID-19. The virus reaches the lungs after entry in the nose or mouth. Ang2 drives lung injury. If there is a decrease in ACE2 activity because the virus is binding to it, then ACE2 can break down the Ang2 protein, which means there is more of it to cause inflammation and damage to the body. The virus also impacts other tissues that express ACE2, including the heart, where the damage and inflammation, myocarditis can occur. The kidneys, liver, and digestive tract can also be injured. Blood vessels may also be a site for damage. In recent research paper, we argue that a key factor that determines severity of damage in patients with COVID-19 is abnormally high in Ang2 activity. What are ACE inhibitors? Are they a possible treatment for prophylactic for SARS-CoV-2? Angiotensin converting enzyme ACE, aka ACE1, is another protein also found in tissues such as the lungs and heart, where ACE2 is present. Drugs that inhibit action of ACE1 are called ACE inhibitors. Example of these drugs are ramipril, Okay, I lost my place. Lisinopril and enalapril. These drugs block the action of ACE1 but not ACE2. ACE1 drives the production of Ang2. In effect, ACE1 and ACE2 have a yin-yang relationship. ACE1 increases the amount of Ang2, whereas ACE2 reduces Ang2. By inhibiting ACE1, ACE inhibitors reduce the levels of Ang2 and its ability to increase blood pressure and tissue injury, and ACE inhibitors are commonly prescribed for patients with hypertension, heart failure, and kidney disease. Another common prescribed class of drugs is angiotensin receptor blockers, ARBs. Affect the ACE inhibitors and may also be useful in treating COVID-19. Evidence for a protective effect of ACE inhibitors and angiotensin receptor blockers in patients with COVID-19 was shown in recent work co-authored by one of us. Where have I seen that name? No evidence exists to suggest prophylactic use of these drugs. We do not advise readers to take these drugs in the hopes that they will prevent COVID-19. We wish to emphasize that patients should only take these drugs as instructed by their health care provider. New clinical trial tests ACE inhibitors against SARS-CoV-2 in collaboration with a multidisciplinary group of investigators. Dr. Lumba has initiated a multi-center, randomized, double-blinded, placebo-controlled clinical trial to examine the efficacy of Ramparil on an ACE inhibitor compared to a placebo in reducing mortality, ICU admissions, or need for mechanical ventilation in patients with COVID-19. That's the end of the article. This was a long article too.